Tonight we're going to be talking about something that's most definitely along the lines to help everyone. This is we're dealing with your kids. We're going to be talking about Generation X, Y, Z. And the reason I like to use the definition of Generation X, Y, Z is actually that when you're talking about different things as far as generations of knowing who they are, that's why I like to use the symbol of X. Meaning, do our generation today know who they are and what their true purpose is? So we're going to be going over a few things tonight. We're going to be talking mainly about the topic of, I'm going to dig a little deep into the whole family unit. And I'm the kind of person that always like to deal with the substance first and get right down to whatever the problem is, understanding what that problem is, and then getting to a point where we can come up with some kind of solution. I'm a history buff. I like to deal with history. And talking about history and life, you're talking about you growing up, you have your mother and your father, and you have this group of people, which you call a family unit, and that is a reflection of an image that we have, and that image that we have is very important. It's the information, knowledge of actually what we're actually dealing with when we're talking about our kids, as far as why your kids are the way they are, and being a father myself and understanding that our kids are growing in a world that is ever changing, always, constantly changing. And I can look back at the time when I was growing up as a kid. Image is important. I talk about image is huge, and access is huge. Who has access to your children's information, as far as your kids, who's in front of your kids, who is talking to your kids, because our kids are actually a carbon copy of who we are. You take a copy, you say you take an original and you put a mark on it and then you copy it. No matter what you do, that copy will always have that mark. So your kids will always have a part of you no matter what. Nobody can ever change that. We call that stuff DNA. So sometimes we act crazy and we realize, well, the DNA is like your parents, they have said to you, you act like your mother, you act like your father, because of that mark that we have with us. We can't change that. And as far as the family unit, and I'll get back to the family unit, that is mostly what is under attack now. And our kids, and I'm going to explain a couple things. I'm going to go a little history. Now, dig into a little history. And I like to use scripture as usually my history. And I say, you have the father, you have the mother. And the kid is in the family. But the thing is how did the parents get their authority? Where did their authority come from? And I always was the kind of person that questioned that. Where did they get their authority? How could she tell me what to do? How could he tell me what to do? And your kids look at you as an authority. And I was talking to Brandon earlier today, and I said, what if somebody was to tell your kid to shut up? and he said, his kid would probably go, ooh. That's a warning sign to tell other people that, hey, wait a minute, I'm questioning this guy's authority. I know my dad has authority, but what gives him the authority over me? So the kid recognized, because the kid has a certain kind of fear as far as of your parents. You do have that. And then the father, I said, Brandon would come over and say, his son would actually watch and see what he's going to do, because he's also the protector. And only certain people have access to our children. And I'm going to talk about that access and that unity. And sometimes what a lot of people don't talk about, because sometimes they misinterpret it or can't communicate it properly. And that's why I wanted to take that break, because I want to make sure I can communicate this properly to you. And I'm talking about unity. Unity in the family. That's what the family has. And certain things have happened in your life, and your relationships with your parents, and your relationships with different people, how it has affected you over the years. Because the mother and the father is the first unit that you're a part of. That's the first group that you're a part of. And everything that is dispensed and experienced through that group, that first group,
is the image that you have in your mind. Subconsciously, sometimes you may have heard your mother say things to you, you had a closed ear, but subconsciously, you remember those things. You know, and because then when you get older, after you got your tail spanked a little, and you start remembering what mom said to you over the years, or dad said. But one thing that families have never done, and my mom did this to me, is that giving me the definition of my position in the family. Think about it. We know what the father does. We know what the mother does. Do we really? Do we know what the children do in the family unit? What is their duties and their responsibilities? It's not just to clean up their room, and people go back to the farm ages where the kids actually would work and all that. When God said, I wanted to create man, I created man in my own image. And then he said, I will make them male and female in God's image. So you meaning that in his image, that man is, but making them male and female and to be fruitful and multiply and to create what? A unit. And we recognize that unit as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is the three. But also at the same time, our kids are the people that carry our legacy, carry on our inheritance, just like Christ carries our inheritance as far as our legacy. So your kids are your future kings and queens. They are. So they should be treated as your future kings and queens. So you protect them. You know, what would you do with $1 million racehorse? Would you turn around and feed them coffee, give them cigarettes, keep them up all night, and then turn around and then try to race?
Of course not.
No. So what are you doing with your children? And who has access to your children? You actually have a thing of protecting your children. Most of the time we have single moms, and we have things that have happened where the kids came up with the father, and then all of a sudden there is a division there. What happened is there's a break in the unity. Think about the time, because I'm going to basically go back with my history. My mom, because my dad left when I was a year old, but my mom, that's all the image that I had was my mother. So my mother and her duties was actually tried to teach me as a man, but she also had her duty as a mother to teach me too. So when the man is more like the hunter, you go out, you hunt, you bring back the food, and then he gets a beer and lay down. But it's the thing of my mom was the one that says, this is what you do with whatever you got. Now, I'm going to show you how to be able to use that. She's that more of a how-to. Taught me how to cook, how to boil eggs, how to do those things that help me be able to provide for my future family. So it's more of the how-to. The dad is the hunter, but we work together as a unit. Everybody has their position in the family. So I have learned over the years, as far as in regards to what position that I played in my family. And then my mother got remarried, so we had my stepfather. And what happened was a break in the unity. My relationship with my mother changed. It actually changed because I was close to my mom, but now she had somebody else in the household. And I always felt like I was the man because I was the oldest boy. And that break in the unity, it actually made me a little bit bitter. So I reacted. And when I reacted, I was like, buck wow. So I would go out and I would do certain things because I was trying to get attention. And my mom, she would discipline me, but the more I do it, I would get more discipline. And so that was like my attention that I would actually get. But over the years, I realized that she was doing that to try to help me because she was disciplining me to help me, to get me to understand that my role is to carry on the legacy. Also, to carry the legacy of your mother, not just your father. And like I said, as far as about that copy, where you actually have that mark, when you have that mark, you are actually, certain things you do, you don't know why you do them because of you have that print, that DNA of your father. So that's why our mothers and fathers said, you act just like your dad. You act like your mom. Certain things that we do subconsciously, we don't even know why. And that is part of us. But our split between our generations has been the break in our unity. Because now kids don't feel like they're part of the family. People getting divorced. And then what happened, the kid end up goes and suppresses himself. Sometimes the kid reflects back at the image of the way things used to be. And they adapt only certain things that was good in the family versus those things that was bad in the family. Some kids turn around and they respond different. They look for attention and they suppress the things that are good and react to only the things that were bad because they're trying to get attention, or they're trying, not just trying to get attention, this is the image that they have seen. There is no other image. So what happened, they go and they attach themselves to other groups. That's why you get in gangs. That's why I had joined the gang, because I wanted to be part of a unit. A different unit. And people say, well, you go because you're looking for love. No, it's not just love. It's the unity that you want. That's why we're with certain people in our life. And you say, well, why is he with that lady? You know, she's maybe 10, 15 years older than him. You know, he's attached to her because of the unity. It's not the love, it's the unity, because he feel like he's a part of. You know, do you see what I mean? It's a natural thing that we try to get from other people. It's not love, it's actually being part of a unit. And that's that image, that family image. We see other people walking down the street or at Starbucks or at Walmart, and you see them, they got the family together, and then the guys, you know, most guys say, well, I'm trying to get out of this family. You know, but most people have that unity. And you see that unity. Everybody see that unity. And that's why you see a couple that are together, they're out enjoying their day because of the unity. Not necessarily the love, it's the unity. But things happen that breaks up that unity when you give other people access. That's why when my mom always tell me, if you met her, why would you let anybody else involved in your relationship? It's between you and her. Nobody else put y'all together. So why did you let people have access? When people have access, what happened? It divides and leads to the breakup of that unity. Certain things that your parents have done over the years. Parents was an alcoholic or drug addict or whatever, got hooked on crack or whatever. But that access of whatever that drug is, because drugs have pretty much have access, different races, different families, different groups, and have split people apart. You know, as far as drugs have pretty much have had an impact on our families. If you look at the news, you look at all the things that has happened over the years, you have seen the division versus the unity. Because right now, what are people attaching themselves to now? As far as generation, if you was to say generation XYZ, you say the baby boomers. The baby boomers were more of the people who were more attached to their jobs and materialism. As far as kids today, as far as generation X, they can quit a job no matter what, because because why would they quit a job? Why would they not? Do they want things? Do you call them slackers? Do you call them people that don't want to have a future? No, you have kids that have a mixed perception of what the family unit is, as far as that image is important. So what are your kids looking at today? If your kids was to come on my show and say, hey, I would ask them a question. What image does your parents project to you, as far as your mother, your father? You would be shocked by what the things your children see. Your kids pay attention to things because, remember, they're also a carbon copy of you. So certain things that you do, they react to because of our DNA. That's getting into the science of it. I don't want to get into the science. But the thing is, what happened to me as a young man is that I needed not just discipline, I needed to have a male role in my life. I needed it. And that's what my mom told me one day. She said, you know what? You should go to the military. I was like, what? Because you need to listen to somebody, a man, tell you what to do. whoa, when you get in there, I got in the Navy, and they pretty much was like, my name was not my name anymore. I had to go to bed, I had to shave, I have to march, I have to stand in line, I have to eat and do all those things, which my mother had already taught me to do to provide for myself. Now I got somebody else providing for me. Different.